Hey everybody, it's good to be back. Been really busy with work the last week or two, so I haven't really had a chance to work on this, but going to jump right back in. So I've decided what I'm going to build here. So I'm going to build a Fender Bassman model 5F6A, which was back in 1958 and 59 known as a Fender Tweed. And these are kind of like the holy grail of bass amps. I just took a look on eBay and people are selling, authentic ones for $12,000. So I'm gonna build my own version of it here, and I'll use the same component. So I'll essentially have one. It just won't be in an old Tweed case that's 50-something years old. So let me walk through what it looks like. I'll show you what I'm going to do, and then this will be the official start of the series. So let's take a peek at it. You'll see from a layout perspective, it's a little bit different than what I usually do. I usually have 5Y3 rectifier tubes. This one used a 6Z34. And you'll see here that there's two 5881 power tubes. And then you've got your preamps, which are 12AX7s and a 12AY7. And a couple of other unique things about this. On the board that they have inside, the electrolytic caps aren't mounted here. They actually go out to the top of the amp, and they sit inside a metal casing. So I'll show you how I'm going to deal with that. The part that's a little unique for me is that it has a selenium rectifier in it. And obviously I'm not going to replace it with one of those. A selenium rectifier is nothing more than a diode or group of diodes. So I'll figure out what diode I need there, and I believe you have to put a resistor in series with it. So I'll figure that out when I get to it. Taking a look at the controls, you'll see there's a presence, a middle, a bass, a treble, volume bright, volume normal, and there's 4 inputs, bright and normal. So that's what we've got there. And then you'll notice that there's 4 speaker outputs as well on this thing. So I'll have to think about how I want to handle that. Aside from that, it's fairly straightforward. Nothing prolific here. Obviously there's more components than the things that I've been working on in the past. Taking a peek at the schematic, again, nothing unusual, right? Here's your rectifier tube. And you'll see that this one has a standby switch, which I'll probably put in. And this amp also has a choke, which I haven't used before in any of the amps that I've done, so that'll be relatively new. And then I've highlighted the electrolytics, which are going to sit on top of the amp. And there's a 20, a 20, a 20, another 20, and an 8. So five electrolytic caps in this thing that mount on top. And then looking at the rest, you'll see that the power tubes are obviously split right before the output transformer right here. 12AX7, 12AX7 here, split in half obviously. And then the 12AY7 is also split in half right on the inputs. So nothing too crazy on this, just more and different. I believe this is the selenium rectifier right here. And I'm not positive, I obviously don't know a lot about them. But if I look at the selenium rectifier here, you can see that it goes directly to 8 microfarad, a pair of them actually, 8 150s. And if I look here, you'll see that there's an 8 150 here and an 8 150 here with a resistor in the middle. So I believe this is the selenium rectifier. We'll see. I don't know yet. Let's take a look at the top. What I'm going to do here. So these were the slots that were there for the vibrator tubes. I'm going to remove these sockets and put in 8-pin octals, and I'll put my 588 one here and one right here. And then this will be from my rectifier tube, my 6Z34. Over here I have a 12AY7. I already have the 9-pin there. Another 12AX7 here. And then this socket I'm going to have to remove and put in another small socket for a 12AX7. I'm going to have to use shields on these things, obviously, to keep the noise down. And what I'm going to do here is this is where I'm going to mount the electrolytic caps. So I'm going to mount them on top here. I'll figure out a solution, and they'll be actually on top of the board. And I'll remove this. This is an old electrolytic that was on this, and maybe I'll move this over a little bit. I don't know yet. And my transformer is going to mount right here. And then looking at the front of the chassis, you'll see I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 holes. And if I look at the controls that I'm going to need, I've got 1 for presence, 2 is middle, 3 is bass, 4 is treble, 5 is volume, and 6 is volume. So I've got 6, and I've got 7 here. So 1 will be for the indicator lamp. That works out really well. And my inputs, I believe I may have to put them somewhere on here and drill holes for them. I don't know yet. Or I may put them in the back. I've got plenty of room back here. So I've got to fill this hole in, this comes out, this terminal strip comes out, and these speaker connections come out. So I could actually mount the inputs on the back of the amp as well, as long as I keep the wires in a good spot. And then looking under the chassis again, you'll see that they have this this divider, which is separating the power section, which is right here. So this is the transformer, and these are going to be the 5881s and the rectifier tube, the 6Z34. So I'm not going to use a turret board in this thing. I'm going to do this one with a hand wire, and I'm probably going to mount terminal strips somewhere in here and figure out how I'm going to connect everything. That's my challenge, is how I'm going to mount it. Or I can remove the separator, maybe put a board in there, but I don't think the board's going to fit. So I've got to plan all that out. So that's where I am in the beginning stages. At least I know what I'm going to build and how I'm going to build it. My only question is this chassis big enough to do that? I have to really give this some thought and make sure that I can fit all of these components in here. Right? You'll see that they're really point to point, and there's quite a bit. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit it in there. I have to think about that and try to map it out, and that's going to be my challenge. So so that's where I am. This is all dead space, obviously, right here where this hole is. So I don't know. I've got some options. I could potentially put a, just to pull this back a little bit, I could potentially put a board here from this side here, straight up and down, if I remove this. So I don't know. Plenty of options. Anyway, I'm going to do more of my my planning here before I start building anything. I'll remove all these old sockets. These sockets are in bad shape, and obviously I'll have to put new sockets in. And I still have the transformer that I'm going to use, and I have that available. And if you remember, that was a classic tone transformer. So that'll be what we use for this. So I've got my work cut out for me, but that's the update on where we are. As soon as I figure out how I'm going to lay out the bottom of the chassis, I'll let you know. All right. Hope everybody's good. Have a good day. Bye.